Hey.
Hello.
Welcome to the Twin Tail Studios podcast.
Episode 23.
Mikey J, right? There's a J in my name, so.
Smells like mothballs in here.
Yeah, there's just for anybody who's not using YouTube's.
You can't smell this through the YouTube scent feature.
YouTube's sensor. If you're a Premiere, YouTube, Premiere is the top one. If you're a Premiere subscriber, you can get scents through your. But anyway, my cats have been peeing on the floor. Well, one of my cats. And I guess one of the repellents is to like put these like mothball smelling. It's like smells like your grandma's house, like
Your grandma.
At least our grandma, one of our grandmas. But it's like this weird, like I don't know what that odor even is. I mean, I guess it's mothballs, but I don't even know what mothballs smell like.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
someone said that when I was younger, and I think it just stuck with me. But
yeah. Anyway, this is a podcast about. It's not politics. That joke's dead, I guess. But
you still said it.
We're a podcast.
This is a podcast about games and stuff that we talk about. Nothing really
what's
structured.
What's funny, like a little behind the scenes things, because everyone's like, "Oh, we should do a podcast," man. Because everyone wants to talk and like be important and people listening to them. But it's funny thinking about like what you should have your content be like. Like your podcast is like got some sort of theme. Like luckily we have a company, so we can say that's our theme. But like sometimes we don't have much to talk about in regards to the company because when they have one title that's not done yet, we're in the middle of trying to get that. We'll talk about that later. But it's funny thinking about like what do we talk about? And honestly, I listen to a lot of podcasts and we could just like pull up the news, like, you know, board game news and just talk about like the Warhammer thing and go through it and talk. And it's like that's enough to be considered a podcast, you know. It's like that could be our format.
We talk about off the air.
Well, I know I said I peek behind the curtains because this is what you talk about. Like, what's this episode going to be about? But this is about Michael Jordan's history with the Chicago Bulls.
I watched that documentary. I think it was on Netflix. It was pretty good.
Save that.
I don't remember anything about it, so I can't talk about it. But
did you ever watch the? This is a rabbit hole already. But did you ever watch that show with John C. Reilly on HBO, the Showtime? It's like about the Lakers.
No,
it's really good. You should watch it. It's like a season, 2 seasons long, I think, but the first season's really good. Really good.
So. Company updates.
Twin Tails.
What's going on with the company? I don't know if we've recorded since our Kickstarter ended.
Yeah, let's do a quick recap.
We funded our Kickstarter. Just barely. We funded, but we funded. That's all that matters.
That was at once upon a time the point of Kickstarter was to get enough funding to do the project.
But we got the funds from Kickstarter, and we actually submitted our first payment to the manufacturer to start the miniatures process.
Which, correct me if I'm wrong, that's the longest part of the process.
Well, I mean,
the longest.
It can be, but it's important to do early because they basically review your STL files, make or suggest any modifications to make production easier. So you want to, when you're doing miniatures, you want to have as few pieces as possible, but also keep the dynamic poses. So there's a balance between like, you know, can we move this elbow in or something so we can keep it all in one piece? Or do we need to break it off for another piece? It's just the more pieces you have, the more molds it's going to take. So there's a delicate balance there.
Which is why we hired a miniatures designer.
Yes. So luckily we have Tom to help us with that process. So any modifications that needed for the miniatures, he can help out with, which is nice. But anyway, yeah, we started that process. I actually just picked out the colors. The Pantone colors for the minions yesterday, so I sent that over there. But that is underway, and also the pledge manager,
which when this we're recording on a Saturday, so it's a weekend, but it seems like we might be able to submit for review on Monday or close to Monday. So like next week when this launches, we should be under review to get launched. So
yeah, there was quite a bit of stuff to set up for the pledge manager, but as mentioned before, it's going to be on GameFound, and so once that's gone through the review process and everything's all ready to go, we will launch that, put out an update to the Kickstarter, say, hey, go finalize your orders so we can get the final print numbers we need for this project and get it printed and delivered and start work on the next exciting project.
Yeah, which I think we'll get into pretty in depth because I have a discussion point involved for like what our next project's going to be. But I just realized too, it's weird recording for future because this is coming out on Tuesday. When you hear this, I might be opening up my box for Lands of Evershade, which is super exciting. Now,
no,
this is another.
Well, I guess how early they listen to it. A lot of people listen to it when it first drops.
No.
The few followers we have.
Somebody.
When do you typically listen to our
Somebody
podcast?
who hears this is gonna be like listening to this when I'm freaking out because FedEx finally reached my house. It's weird whenever you're waiting for a package. This probably happens to everybody, but it happens to us because we live in the same neighborhood. But anytime we're waiting for something like a board game, it's always like the last thing in the day to deliver. It's like, in the evening or something. But I'll always see like FedEx first thing in the morning dropping off my cat food or something, like just like something I don't care about. But if it's ever a board game, it's always like the last they know that you're waiting for it, so they just hold off on it.
Yeah. Also, I as well got my tracking for Lands of Evershade, so it should be on the same day.
Which is proof they go by alphabetical order. Or like
location.
Did we also pledge for the same thing? Did you get the same pledge level?
I don't know.
Like the Explorer pledge. Anyway, what I was going to get at about the reason I brought that up is because one other thing that's going on with the company right now is we're kind of doing like we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves with the planning to launch, but our next big launch is going to be like release wise is going to be the Relic Myers 3 book, which is Relic Myers and the Melody of Maladies, which I've been writing this month. I'm like, I'd say like at least over a third of the way done with the manuscript because it's like getting bigger and bigger as I work on it, which is I was hoping to finish it this month, but it's not going to happen. It's probably going to spill over to June, but it's really awesome so far. But we've got the cover art started. I think I mentioned that before. We have a new artist, which I always feel bad. But Jordan, sorry, I can't pronounce your last name, even though you told me how to pronounce it. It's like Smiledrstra.
Jordan S.
Yeah, it's very interesting. You'll see it when we post the art when we're doing the marketing. We'll tag the artist, but you'll see how you have a difficult last name, Jordan. And luckily, I don't think she listens to the podcast, so she won't be offended. But anyway, that's going well. That's the cover art's looking awesome. The book is going. The writing process is going very well. And we'll get into more like later in the episode because Relic Myers we've talked about before might be something that we're planning for like our next project. But we don't want to. We have ideas and we keep things kicking around, but we can't like lock in to something until we see how certain things go. We've got a lot invested in the Malice of Light Adventures launch, so when that delivers, I feel like I should talk about the convention stuff too, but maybe that's.
I mean, we are going to Origins.
Yeah, because summer's coming up and people are always doing conventions. So like, yeah, I'll just that's company update too. So. We'll put a bit more comprehensive post about this because we have like the exhibit hall floor plans for Origins. Well, actually before Origins, we have the is it Indianapolis Comic-Con? Yeah, I think it's called Indianapolis Comic-Con, which is the same location as Gen Con if you're ever in the Indianapolis area. That's where we'll be, which I think is the first weekend of June. And then the weekend after that is Origins. We'll be there as well. We'll be showing off our copy of the Malice of Light Adventures and selling some books. So if you want to come by, check that out. I feel like Origins is not as big of a convention for a lot of publishers these days, but we're going to be there. We'll see how it goes. We'll determine if we go there.
I don't think I've been there since we were there with Blacklist. I think for doing.
It was like 2018 or something, or maybe 2019. I forget. It wasn't 2020 because that was like when they started shutting down all the conventions. But then also after Origins, the big one is Gen Con. We'll be there as well. They just released the floor plan. So if anybody happened to see us last year at Gen Con, we're going to be like really close to where we were. So we're like right across the alley. It's funny too, because I remember vividly when we were at that little corner, I was like, oh, this is a nice spot because it's on the edge. But I noticed that like across the way from us and diagonally, that woman, I forget her name, it's like a Lauren something, she had a lot of foot traffic. People kept stopping there, and that's where we are now.
Maybe they were looking for her, though.
Well, I know, but now we'll have that table, so we'll see if that's like the magical spot. But anyway, yeah, so that's our convention presence. We've also applied for PAX Unplugged later in the year, and the one I didn't tell you about.
We shouldn't be doing too much until we actually have product to sell.
Well, yeah, that's in December. That's in December though, so we would likely have a good idea about our stock, So, and then also in December is, I think this overlaps. So I think on the same weekend is either PAX Unplugged or the Dragonsteel Nexus, which is the Brandon Sanderson convention in Salt Lake City. we're on the waiting list for PAX Unplugged, and we have some contacts who might be able to swing some to get us in there if we wanted to. But I've also got our names in for the Brandon Sanderson Dragonsteel Nexus. I've never been to, but everyone raves about it, so I'd like to check it out, and we'd have a booth. So that's what we're doing convention wise, a little live presence update. And also, if you're in Lafayette, every month I'll be at the I just had the first Mosey Down Main Street, which did pretty well. Like, had some good sales there, some good interest in the board game that I had set up there.
It'd be really nice if we had copies to sell at these things.
Next year.
I wish we had inventory. We could do a lot more with it, which is nice. Which would be nice.
Yeah, but at least for now, it's like kind of like setting up at least we'll have the system in place. So when we have stock to sell, we'll have the spots reserved, because that's the hardest part about conventions is you have to get on the waiting list and like wait a year. So now we have those locked in. So we'll be on the call sheet at least.
And as far as like what's next for our projects, we obviously probably we won't announce anything for quite a bit, because we're not gonna do another crowdfunding project until Malice of Light Adventures funds. But we're also have been doing some contract work with some other publishers / companies. So doing some side work before we start working on the next project. But like I mentioned last time, we're kind of up in the air between more Malice of Light Adventures or the Relic Myers game.
I was going to mention, because that was one of the questions I think on the
Brady put a call out for questions, and
it was a mistake.
I think we have a big chunk of time for questions. Even if some of them are just like joke questions, we'll still address them. But it seemed to have diverged into just chit chat. So I have to kind of filter through all that to find the questions. So we'll do listener questions on this episode as well. I think that's any other company stuff that
our company or any company, because I know that I'd like to talk about Osprey selling off their. Is anyone familiar with Osprey Games?
They're not going to answer.
They're selling off their board and card games. It wasn't RPGs, because they're going to do role-playing games and war games.
It's like stuff like Frostgrave books and Stargrave.
Which is what they started doing. So,
and I think that's probably makes sense. They probably make more money from their books sales. And and
if I recall, they had some problems with like fulfilling some of their games, like as far as pre-orders go. And
didn't they do some of David Thompson's games?
Yeah, they did Undaunted Normandy, which is their big one. I think that was their first game. Their first I think they had this like adventure, this like solo game, Lost. I forget what it's called now. It was like this. It was a very popular solo card game. I had a copy of it at one point, but it's like this expedition game. But I think it's called like Lost Expedition. But that was a cool game, really well produced. But they had a lot of smaller box games, and they started expanding a bit more. And it's funny because they're like the big game I know they released was their sci-fi Undaunted that David Trevor did, which I have a copy from. I think it was like last Gen Con or the Gen Con before then, but I never actually played it. I need to like learn it and play it. But
was that called like Calypso or something?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, good. It looks really good. Awesome production, and from how much I love Undaunted, I know I'll like it. I just need to get around to learning the rules and everything. Too much of a people have their like to read their TBR, their to be read pile. I have like a to be played pile. Yeah, that's so big.
Speaking of Osprey, I got the books for that. Joe McCullough's new game,
Warriors
of Athena or whatever. I love the concept of it. I really wish it was just fantasy though, because I don't have like a big collection of Roman mythology miniatures or whatever. And like even like I was looking at the first scenario, and it's like, oh cool, you're fighting some Cyclops siblings or something, but you have to fight some giant bees. I was like, I don't have anything to represent bees. It's like you can use whatever you want.
You get some STLs, man. That's the beauty too now with like those miniatures agnostic games, because I don't do a ton of STLs, but like if I got really into a game, that I'd probably be compelled to like get some 3D printing done.
I still think it'd be really cool to do like a skirmish game supplement for Malice of Light, like alongside.
You're really tapping into our content for our questions, because somebody asked that.
I know, but what it was related to this. We can dig into deeper, but like I think it'd be really cool to do that, like a kind of like what Lasting Tales was supposed to be. You know, like I hate talking about it because it's so depressing. Like what happened to that game, because it was like a dream project for me. But it's kind of cool to do something similar to that. But you know how I've been playing that Overbold game on UFO 50, where it's kind of like, you know, push your luck, you know, see how long you can last. But you kind of have a skirmish game like that where you're like, you know, seeing how far you can delve, like see how many waves you can survive to like get upgrades and stuff like that. Like kind of like Malice of Light Adventures, but more of in a skirmish format that's kind of miniature agnostic. That'd be kind of
I'm always
cool.
torn though, because like as much as I love minis too, like I love 3D terrain and stuff. When I think about like formats like that, I'm like, it'd just be such a good board game, such a good
Like, but I mean, we have Malice of Light Adventures. I'm just saying, like, you know, put a book supplement out there, because there are people like me who will just buy these books. Like, they're such an easy purchase compared to a game.
If I think the magical combination is like having kind of universal componentry that is alongside of a book, where it's like you can use these like modular encounters, and the book will drive all the book is like a book of encounters.
But there's this goes back to the reason why Osprey is getting out of games, is because it's so easy to print books, you know.
That's Osprey though.
From a business perspective, just like going and getting a book print run and just selling a book. That there's something to me that's really appealing to that. I want to do just like a book someday.
Well, I mean, that taps into like what we've been talking about in terms of Relic Myers, because I mean, obviously I'm in that mindset working on this book, and like when it comes to Twin Tales like IPs, like, you know, we have our books are a good indicator of what we have to work with or what we like have planned on. But like Relic Myers, I keep coming back to, because it's I wouldn't say it's like unique, because, you know, it's got the Stranger Things vibes, and there are things out there like that, like Kids on Bikes and stuff. But I think it is enough of a twist that it makes it like a good contender for something that really stands out in the market. And like, I think one of the ways we can really explore that is by doing what we won't get into details about what this would look like, but a game that could expand into like an RPG. So like a role-playing system. We've written 4 RPGs, but not like written our own, you know, or designed our own RPG system. So it's very like, it's very intriguing, something we want to explore, and I think that would be a good setting for it, because it's a world I want to, you know, map out and put all this like background into. And I mean, I already have the background, but it'd be cool to put it in a new format. So a Relic Myers RPG would be very, very fun to work on.
That's the interesting thing about the IPs, is because Malice of Light, there is a downside to it from an outside perspective. Somebody who hasn't read the books, it's like, oh, generic fantasy. But it's like, obviously, if you read the books, you understand that there's a world there, and it's you know, inspired by classic fantasy, but it's its own thing. But anybody who doesn't know that just looks like generic fantasy. However, if you have that as like a skirmish game, like a book, the generic fantasy, that means I can use all my fantasy miniatures, because it's such a common theme, you know. And like but you couldn't really do that with Relic Myers, for example. Relic Myers has to be a contained product, because you don't have like a whole collection of
you could
90s themed
because what you talked about with that, the Warriors of Athena, that people do it, so it's not like ideal, but it is. But yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying, but I think that
I have more thoughts about the whole skirmish thing. But like you said, there's a question related to this in the listener questions that I'm gonna probably expand on. So, and
I have things to talk about beyond that, so we should just jump into listener questions, unless you have anything to talk about business company wise, because we have a lot of questions to get to, and we're already at 20 minutes, and even if we wrap up early, I have things to talk about. So I can talk about
I have it on my phone here, and I apologize in advance if it takes me a minute to sort through some of these things, because
some people aren't following the rules because they're posting chatter in our
that's
podcast
your fault.
questions.
That's your fault.
No, I said post questions. So there's my GIF.
So Toaster has the best one. Start right off the bat. Start with this very serious question: how do you leave the parking lot in Police Quest 1?
There's so many parts of that game that you cannot even progress. Well, back in the day, you couldn't progress unless you had the accompanying book.
Manual,
the manual that told you all things.
I've played this intro so many times in my childhood. Like, so I have left the parking lot, and also many times crashed the car immediately after, because the driving is
so weird. You can't slow down. It's like you're a missile and you have to turn immediately.
It's also a pretty jarring transition where you're like walking around, all of a sudden you're zoomed out in the city map. Now, Police Quest, I should say, was a big inspiration for Brook City for us. Like, that's kind of what we wanted to.
Well, I remember vividly when we got to the point, like when you do leave the parking lot, that was like before GTA, and I was like, I think when I played Grand Theft Auto the first time, the video game number 1, like it was like, oh my god, it's like a Police Quest, but like I can actually do whatever I want, like it was so.
I'd love to be able to do something like that in a tabletop format would be fantastic.
I'll answer that question though, is you have to do the 4-point check.
Well, you have to do a bunch of things. You have to get your walkie, right? Oh, if you want to get the most points.
I thought he meant if you're in the parking lot, how do you leave? You have to do a 4-point check.
The intro, you start in the police station. You got to get your walkie. You got to go to the locker room. You got to change. Get your keys and your gun. And
there's a briefing before.
You go to the briefing. You listen to that, and then you go outside and you have to do the walk around your car, and then you get in.
It's called the 4-point check, man. The funny thing about that game is if you know...
I'm explaining what it is.
If you know what to do, it's a very short and boring game. Well, if you know all the steps that you...
Yeah, it's very procedural, but there's some cool... Like when you go to... I remember going to the park and you go scuba diving, getting the stuff out of the lake. There's just a bunch of cool stuff.
When you go to question the guy at the prison, but the prison is like one... It's like you go into the prison and it's like one room with like the there's one interrogation. It's like a really small...
Hobby Vomit Matt has a bunch of questions that... I'm not sure how serious some of these are, but I'm going to read them all, and I think you can answer the last one. What is your name? What is your quest? What is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow?
I know all these.
What is your favorite fantasy series?
So my name is Brady. My quest is to design a sitcom board game that has a tactical element.
That's their next project.
That one's on the back burner, and the velocity is 6.7, I believe.
Swallow.
Is it the velocity? Yeah, 6.7 mph, and then
mph
miles per hour.
6.7 mph. What is your favorite fantasy series?
I think I have to always revert back to the Song of Ice and Fire. Like, there are other books I think I enjoy individually, but like whenever I go back to that series, it just, the start of it's so freaking good. Like Game of Thrones is such a good, compelling book that it's hard not to follow it up with the next one. And I love, whenever I'm reading that series, because I've reread the series several times, and when I'm reading it, I'm like thinking about, I'm almost to A Feast for Crows, and everyone hates A Feast for Crows. I freaking love it. It's like one of my favorite books.
That's where I stopped reading it.
I love that book so much. It's all about Brienne and Cersei, and such a good book.
I'm not sure if this is referring to a book series or a film series or a...
Oh, I thought it said book series.
It just said fantasy series.
Okay.
So if it is books, I have an interesting one. That it's not for the
Cleric Quintet.
Yes, it is actually. Thanks for ruining it. So like I read a lot of R.A. Salvatore books.
What kind of preamble is there for that?
Well, I was going to get to it, but you ruined it.
I thought it was a joke answer. So
I read a lot of R.A. Salvatore books when I first got into D&D. So I read all the Drizzt books. I really liked Homeland?
Homeland was the prequel one. Yeah, it was pretty good.
Like all about the Underdark and stuff like that.
I didn't love Icewind Dale, the original one. Like it was fine, but like I thought the prequel was better.
But those books were cool. And then I found out that he did a book called The Cleric Quintet, and I was like really into clerics, obviously. So I was like, oh man, I gotta check this out. And I don't remember much about it. It's about Catterley, and I don't remember much about the series. I just thought it was really cool that he wrote it.
Catterley a Drizzt character?
Yeah.
Okay.
He became a very powerful cleric, but that was it was cool that there was a book series just about a cleric, which was cool.
Now, is it 4 clerics, or is it just a cleric that has 4 people help, 3 people help?
Isn't 5? It's 5 books. Quintet.
Oh, okay.
Not a quartet.
I thought it was like a group of people. I thought it was about a group of people that was.
No, it's a 5 books.
Gotcha.
I honestly don't remember what the books are actually called. I think there was the Crucible of Fire or something.
That sounds familiar. Yeah, Crucible something.
But if we're talking film series, and I know Lord of the Rings is a book series, but the films, I don't like the books. I tried reading the books, but the films are fantastic.
Now, like I think the first half of the Lord of the Ring, the Fellowship of the Ring, is really good. I don't love, like, I've read the books several times, but I don't love trying to get through Two Towers. It's just a lot. There's a lot of slog in there, but I do think the first half of Lord of the Rings is a really good book. But I'd have to agree that the movies are just a really good replacement for the books.
Yeah. And I'm actually saying, I said that because I'm actually rewatching them right now when I'm in bed. I'm just watching. I usually watch like a show or something before bed, but now I'm just watching parts of the extended edition of the trilogy, and I'm on Return of the King now, which Return of the King is like 4.5 hours long, so it's a little long, but still great movies. And I'm actually looking forward to watching the Hobbit movies after that.
I feel like what do you call it? Like a poser saying this because I haven't even finished it yet. Because Sarah and I started watching The Witcher, and that's actually like a really good fantasy series because it has this kind of like episodic feel, like those old
show.
Yeah. What did I say?
I'm just wondering.
Oh yeah,
I didn't know
sorry.
about the.
I was talking about the show. Yes, I haven't finished reading the books. The books I'm not a huge fan of, just because I think I've talked about this before. But the author who writes The Witcher, like his chapters are like so freaking long. Like he has a normal sized fantasy books, but they consist of like 6 chapters as opposed to like 30 or 40. You know, like most people break up their scenes in chapters, and his chapters are just so long. And the structure is just kind of jarring. But yeah, the show is pretty cool. I wish there were more fantasy shows like that, like live action fantasy that were just kind of like episodic, like in, you know, classic like 90s shows like Xena or something. Just really good episodic fantasy.
All right, so that was that hobby vomit.
We got through one question.
That's the second question. The police question.
Oh,
Was the
yeah.
first one. So Steve from the Co-op Guild asks, "What is a video game you enjoy that would be the most difficult to design a board game version?"
Ooh.
That's Total War Warhammer. No.
Reverse engineer this.
No, actually, that would be hard to do a board game because it takes so long. Like, cause it's all campaign.
It's an expanded version though.
But that is a good question though, because I have probably a lot of answers for this.
I think this is easy for me because people who know me know that one of my obsessions is Blaster Master, and like the new ones, Blaster Master Zero. I love that trilogy. And I think we have ideas of how we'd want to do a game in that theme, but I think it's very hard to do a game that's, you know, trying to replicate the feeling of a side-scrolling Metroidvania style game, especially with those like 3 levels where you have, or 3 layers where you have like the tank, you know, blasting side-scrolling things on foot, like where you're very delicate, but you're still moving around platforming, and then like in the dungeons where you're overhead view, like action adventure Zelda style game, like. It'd be hard to capture all of that, you know, compellingly in a board tabletop without being like cumbersome or having too many components and stuff like that. We have ideas of how we would do it because it's something that we've got ideas for a game similar to Blaster Master in our own IP, but that's probably my most challenging one because I just don't know how to do it justice because I love the game so much.
I think anything like a Metroidvania style game, or like a Zelda game or something, it'd be really cool to play a tabletop version of that, but it's pretty much just a one shot. Like you'd have to have,
it's very linear
because you can't, it's not repeatable. I mean, you could have like variations of like items that do different things, but then it loses the iconicness of like, oh, the skeleton key opens this door. And
I think in general, one thing that really catches me when it comes to trying to make tabletop versions of video games is item gating. That's like the thing where in Zelda is very famous for, where you have to have the gloves to lift the pots to get past this one area or whatever. Like that's really cool on video games, but I think it's hard to replicate in board games without being too linear and too like structured, where like, oh, do all these setup steps to make sure you have that payoff of the item gating, you know. And that's
because you don't want to feel like you're going through the motions on a tabletop.
That was one thing that I was really impressed with on that, because everyone seemed to hate on that Discover Lands Unknown game when it came out because of how the product model was set up, and that was the FFG game that Corey Kineska did back when they did Keyforge and they had their like, what do they call it, unique games or whatever. And Discover Lands Unknown was like this game that had different content pools based on, you know, the box you bought had different stuff in it, but it was all based on like item gating, and it was really well done, and that's like a good model for how you should do it.
Nemesis Nate, this one, his question seems to be directed towards me. Are you planning to get your dog another little buddy? If so, what would you name it? I will just say no, mainly because
Hubert.
I've obviously, anybody who's got a puppy, you know, knows how much work they are.
I had to babysit it for 2 hours, and I was exhausted.
Yeah, and you just slept on you most of the time.
Yeah, I couldn't move.
But yeah, like sometimes I feel bad because she wants like someone to play with or whatever. You know, obviously you have to constantly entertain a puppy and give it some kind of mental stimulation. But it's kind of, you can only just sit here and pull on a toy for so long before you're just like, okay, do something else. But if I did, So we named my dog Abigail because in my house we all have A names. Me, my wife, and my daughter all start with A. So it'd be kind of cool to just keep that theme going. And I also, if I got a dog, it'd probably also be another female. So it'd be something with an A that's a female name. I don't know. I don't even know what I would get.
I'm thinking of a bunch of A boy names right now. But
Avery is
pretty. It's pretty
Adrian.
androgynous.
But yeah, so that's why if I did get it, it'd be another A name probably. And also I think
get a boy named Alistair.
If I ever got another dog, this breed seems to be the perfect dog for me. Beaglier is
watch you lucked
adorable
out, though,
dog,
and every other version of it you see is gonna be terrible.
I've seen some unfortunate looking Beagliers, but this one just seemed to be the perfect mix of Beagle and
she's a doll.
Cavalier. Calvin asks a very topical question from our discussion earlier. Have you ever considered designing a miniatures, wargame, or skirmish game? Maybe something solo or co-op like Rangers of Shadowdeep. I'll just say absolutely.
It's funny how many we've discussed, but we just never really moved forward with. And it's a problem with and this is another reason we started this company is because up until this point, we were always dictated on what we should do based on who we were working for, what publisher was commissioning us to do a project. So we never got commissioned to do a skirmish game, but now that we have our own company, it's more likely that we can say, hey, this should be a skirmish game, and we'll just decide to do it that way.
I mean, not only would it be cool to do just the Lasting Tale style thing where we just do a book that's an miniature agnostic skirmish game, I think it'd also just be really cool to do the idea I said before where it's a Malice of Light skirmish game where it's just two warbands fighting each other, but every warband comes with their own solo rules. So as an enemy faction, so I could pretty much buy any faction I wanted and just fight them playing solo, or you could control them. We could play one versus one. I think that'd be really cool. We play Kill Team a lot, we did. I haven't played in a while, but there are so many ways to simplify that game and streamline it to make the co-op more engaging. I think that'd be really cool to do someday. But I think that would require a full-time miniatures guy. Tom would have to be full on board to say, okay, I'm going to support you with some miniature boxes and all this stuff. It'd be a big project. I think it'd be really cool.
It'd have to be. It'd most likely be tied to however we model the expansions for the Malice of Light Adventures, because we'd be doing miniatures anyway.
Well, what I would want to do with it, I would want to package it as a hardback book and then just faction boxes that had the cards in it. So that's the game. There's no separate card packs and all that stuff. And it could be a starter box. You could just have a starter box with a smaller rule book, whatever. But I think that'd be really awesome. And if that's something that you guys would like, I would love to know that that's something that there's a market for, and we could plan, because I would be very excited.
There's a lot of small scale projects. I think they reference it in the questions later. There was one that was I forget what it was called.
He said Bloody Hollow. I don't know that one.
Yeah. Have you seen that one?
I think we got into the chatter here, so I'm trying to sort through all this stuff.
Bloody Hollow, I was looking that up because I saw that comment, and that looks pretty cool. I saw there was a backer kit from a couple years ago. I'm not sure if it's delivered or what, but it looks like a Sleepy Hollow style Rangers of Shadowdeep, and the backer kit had this STL hero kit where you could make your own hero out of these multi-piece kits, like a sprue. But I think it was STLs. I'm not sure, but it looked pretty cool. Like neat, designing your own Sleepy Hollow hero to go fight the Headless Horseman.
That's another thing too, that maybe when we do a skirmish game, we could also probably offer STL files if we're working with a sculptor that's cool with that. And when I say working with a sculptor, I mean if Tom is cool with that. All right. Next question was from Nate. Looks like a different Nate. What made you decide that 10 is the perfect number of questions for choosing?
I said 10 plus, at least 10. And that was because I think from a time standpoint, that's what I was looking at. I was like, that could probably take up at least 10 minutes.
I didn't read that question before I said it. I should know that was a joke.
No, it's a serious question.
Derek asks, what's next development wise now that Malice of Light Adventure is done and funded? So that's a great question. We kind of touched on that.
Yeah, we had. I wish we could take a poll and like get community feedback.
Of course we can. We just don't get very many.
Yeah. I just mean like on a wider scale, because it's something where like Adam and I always kick around ideas about what we're most inspired by. Currently, obviously, me, like I would love to work on a Relic Myers project because like I am just so entrenched in that world right now, working on the book, and like. It would be nice because I'm planning the release for book 3 for the Halloween this year, even though we probably can't fit a new project in because, you know, we have to make sure that Malice of Light Adventures is fully fulfilled and everyone has their copies before we even think about doing another project. So we can't get too far ahead of ourselves, but we're just trying to plan a little bit in advance because it's nice to get, you know, art started. It's nice to get people lined up and interested in the same projects. But I think the two main contenders right now, we can say this without like spoiling stuff, is like obviously a Malice of Light Adventures reprint plus expansion. That'd be like a go-to, you know. The game delivers, people are thinking about it, it's being talked about, it seems like it makes sense.
Yeah, and we're exploring ways to try to expand our print run for Malice of Light Adventures on this first one with some distribution or something, but that's all dependent upon retailer interest and a distributor wanting to put in a PO for it. So like that's out of our hands. But if it happens, then we can do a bigger print run. Then it gives us a little more time to be like, okay, well, Malice of Light Adventures is, people like it, but it's available other places, which would be great. But if it's not, I think the pressure's on us to do a reprint and an expansion next. So that's kind of out of our hands, but it's definitely something we want to do.
Yeah, and we won't like go in detail yet about like the format of the expansions because we have like plenty of ideas, but we'll let that simmer for a bit before we.
I think we've talked about that before, like ideas for expansions.
The Relic Myers bit. There's two main like things going on in my head right now because we have ideas for a really cool like adventure game for Relic Myers because Adam and I both we really like Eldritch Horror. Like Arkham Horror in concept is a cool game, but like the Eldritch Horror mechanics are much more our style. It's cleaner, you know, it's more expandable, easily expandable. So something like that, but like lighter weight, because we also loved like Horrified. Those Horrified games are really cool. So some like middle point where like if you imagine the breadth and like the expandability of Arkham Horror, but like just the ease of the low barrier of entry of Horrified. I think that's where Relic Myers would sit, but that adventure game should be the foundation for something bigger, like an RPG, expandable card game, something. So we're kicking around ideas for that. But it seems like that would be a better target for like December, for Halloween 2027, because that way like we could do the entire Relic Myers book series, because I'll be releasing the final book in the series by then. Fingers crossed.
There are two other options that we have. They aren't as like top of the list, but they're definitely there, and we're just not sure about the demand for it. So one of them is we could just do a Game Found pre-order for Hour of Need reprint. Yeah. Like that, all that product is ready to go. We would just have to clean up some graphic design and put our logo on it and all that stuff, get all the blacklist things off of there, and just do a whole new launch of that product, because there's a lot of product there and it's pretty well received. People liked it. And we didn't, the original Kickstarter was not huge.
There's room to grow.
So
for that,
there is a market for it, but it is obviously generic superheroes. It's not like Marvel or DC, and there are Marvel and DC games out there, but that's an option. So if there are people that like really would love Hour of Need, that would be very easy for us, because that would also give us more development time on the next project, because we could just do, okay, this game's ready to go, let's just reprint it, get it out there, and then start work on the next one. So that's another option.
Yeah, because we need to have more. We need to have more titles under our belt for, and
also we paid for it, so it's like we feel like we should do something with it, without doing new content. Just like, let's just get whatever's out there. Let's just get whatever's done. Let's just get it out there. So that's an option, and also the other option is Brook City, like doing a second edition of Brook City. That was always a big one at Blacklist. We would go to Gen Con and Blacklist and at the booth, and people just come up looking for the Brook City. It's like, oh, where's Brook City? Where's Brook City?
There was that whole thing too, where I was thinking along, like this was back in when we first acquired Brook City. I was thinking like, wait, man, GTA 6 is going to hit pretty soon. It's like we need to do Brook City, because people are going to be like, oh, thinking about that. And it's funny too because this is like much of a spoiler, I don't think, but in the book 3 of Relic Myers, Brook City plays a part in that book series. So like it's very topical in that sense too, because if people get the 3rd book of Relic Myers and are reading it and they see the Brook City game, it's like it's a easy connection there, and that could be a good gap between. Because if we do Relic Myers next Halloween, when the 4th book is ready to release, then having this be something in between would be a good filler as well. So yeah, there's a lot of options. It's hard to pick just one.
Yeah, I will say there is, just talking about it now, there is a big appeal to the Hour of Need approach, just because of the time it gives us to like not just put more product out there and get more things under the Twin Tail Studios banner, but also gives us more time to make the next project even better, not rush it. And also, like, we're just doing this part-time, we both have day jobs. So if something like that would open the door to have one of us go full-time, probably Brady first, but that would be...
I think we would hire an artist first before either of us go full-time. We'd have an artist on board.
Yeah. So that's another thing, too, is like we want to expand our IPs, and that's going to take a lot of art. Yeah. Lots of ideas. So we're just going to try to narrow that down. If you have thoughts, feel free to chime in the Discord, say like what you would love to see next. Because we want to make products that people want, obviously. We want to be excited about it, but these are 4 projects that obviously we'd be excited to do them. So, those are all valid options for us. All right. Joe Clipfell. Is it Clipfell? Am I pronouncing your name right, Joe?
I've never heard him say it, but yeah, I always imagine Clipfell. Yeah. Joe's a great designer, awesome designer.
Handful of questions here. First one is, how has your board gaming tastes evolved in the last 5 years?
When it comes to 5 years, that's kind of hard to say. Like, I think in the last 5 years, it's kind of been consistent. But like when I first got into the hobby, I loved huge games with tons of pieces, tons of tokens, tons of cards, and that has changed a lot. like as much as I'm looking forward to Lands of Evershade, that's a big game. I still really we made Malice of Light Adventures for us because like I love the idea of getting this nice, clean single box that has all the stuff in it, and it's all got perfect little homes for everything. Like I just love that so much. So I am a big proponent of really good storage, really good setup and teardown.
I think Lands of Evershade is an exception. Yeah. I think it's just more.
It feels like more like it is a hybrid. It's like this RPG / board game. So it's like I think it's a different beast. But in general, I think like when I get a board game, I'm looking at like how easy is this to set up and tear down? How easy is storage? What's the modularity? So I think like that's the biggest change for me. But that's been pretty consistent over the last 5 years, I think.
Yeah, I think for me, simplification, like simple rules, are way more appealing. Like I love creating fun experiences, or just being part of fun experiences at the table. Theme is always a big thing for me, always has been, so that hasn't really changed. But I think I talked about this on an episode earlier in the year, last year, when I was playing Talisman with my daughter and her friend. Like I had one of the most
episode, I think
that was like one of the most fun board game experiences I've had in a while, but it's probably just because introducing kids to new games and stuff like that's fun. But it's just so simple. You don't have to read a bunch and prep. You just rolling some dice and going. Like approachability is a big deal. So I think that's a big factor in but I think that a lot of my tastes have, like you said, been pretty consistent as well. Like I still like miniatures. I like painting miniatures. I still love. I get obsessed with Warhammer stuff all the time.
I'm so weird with miniatures.
I'm always pulled back into Warhammer.
I get people who complain about miniatures online, like, oh, I don't need all these minis. But I don't think I need more miniatures because I have so many. But like, if a game has, like, I remember I was thinking about this the other day when I backed this War of Mine, the Awakened Realms game, because I had the original one. They're doing like a new anniversary edition, so I backed that one because I got rid of the original I had, and I kind of missed that game. But it's like they have all these like kind of unnecessary minis that excite me. It's weird. Like
I also get sad with when the state of like what's popular in board game minis. Like I don't like it. Like I don't agree with it. Like Lands of Evershade is a great example. Like people praise Awakened Realms for the miniatures. I don't like that style of miniatures at all. Like there's something about this hyper detailed. I don't even know how to like put it into words what I don't like.
I always think of the word filigree. Like, I don't know why I think of that, but like I think of like really delicate,
lots
like, like blossoms
yeah,
of things.
like I just really like if people look at Malice of Light Adventures, they think, oh, I think someone made a comment saying that our miniatures are hurting our campaign because they're really like 80s Hero Quest style. I'm like, that's what I want. Like I want 90s style, like chunky heroic looking dudes.
Yeah, that one Duncan Rhodes, the new game. Like I look like that mini.
Yeah.
He was like this knight. It's so stocky and like it's just like I love that style. It's so
I mean,
good.
it's got details, but it's got smooth areas and stuff like that. It's just it's not so busy. Yeah. Like it's like those like Lands of Earthshade, all the miniatures. I didn't see any that I liked. Like I think they're good, but I don't like
the enemies look cool because the enemies have a lot of cool effects. But like, yeah, it's hard with the heroes because the heroes seem like creatures. Like the heroes seem like enemies and stuff.
Yeah,
so
it's just the style of miniatures in board games these days. What's popular on crowdfunding, it just doesn't resonate with me. Like I look at like Frostgrave and those really like
North Stars,
like retro looking miniatures. Those are way more appealing to me. Like I just love the chunkiness and the stylized.
I get that people can see that as boring, but I can't deny that I like it. So it's like I must like boring things.
Yeah, I mean, Tom. The reason we picked, not only are we working with Tom because he's a friend of ours, but like his style is like what I want. Like he sculpts the miniatures that I would want. If I could hire any sculptor, I could do this. Do the miniatures like this.
Yeah, his sculpt of Rancel is like by far the best halfling I've ever seen in a model. It's just perfect.
So, yeah, that's a rant there is unnecessary. I don't mean to like trash those miniatures. It's just not what I want, and it's kind of bums.
I think it's because I want to like them because they're so prevalent, but I just don't.
Well, I think it's for me. It's because we get criticized for our miniatures not looking good because that's what we like. You know, it's not like it's bad. It's just that's the style we want. Anyway, what IP setting would you most be excited? This is still Joe. Mm-hmm. What IP setting would you be most excited about designing a game in?
Currently, I think I'd go for the two. I already mentioned Blaster Master, just because, like, I won't spoil it, but like there's such a big piece of the Blaster Master lore in the Relic Myers book I'm working on. So like I've just been in that mindset so much. So I've been thinking a lot about Blaster Master. So like that whole like mech. Like not mech, but like kind of like the sci-fi tank pilot type thing. Like there's got to be a word for that, like that genre. There's probably is a word. I just don't know what it is. That or State of Decay 3, because that's the new upcoming State of Decay game. Zombie survival, like very grounded, just like getting supplies, like just. I don't know. Like,
what did you say? Oh, State of Decay. For some reason, I thought you said.
Probably, whenever I say State of Decay, it's like one word, State of Decay. But State of Decay 3, which is an upcoming video game, we've been in the news lately. But that's an IP that I always go back to. I love zombie survival, and while I love like Resident Evil and those kind of like more robust zombie games, I like State of Decay because it's very grounded. It's just like a bunch of survivors working together, like cooperatively and trying to build things.
Robot Jocks, probably.
that did you see that thing I posted? It's such a bummer that was satire.
This is tough because I think the one I'm excited about the most is actually an idea for an IP that we were talking about years ago, that we haven't done anything with. But I would be really excited about making a game.
We did something with it, but we did it in a different time period.
But yeah, I can't think of like. I mean, it'd be cool to do a game in the Warhammer Old World setting sometime, but like we've already done that.
Yeah. But we were kind of hamstrung in a bit. Yeah. But something more like having more free reign and having more.
I'm having trouble thinking about like something where I'm like, oh, I really want to make a game in that setting.
Sitcom, True Lies,
just a True Lies board game from the 1995 film, whatever year that was. What is the next big board game trend of the next couple of years? More deluxe versions of classics, shorter campaigns, resurgence of legacy games.
Cozy Stickerville. That's going to be people are freaking out over Cozy Stickerville.
I mean, that's already a trend now. Though,
I know, but it's gonna spill over to like other publishers doing stuff like that. Like it's this.
I thought it's been going on for a while already. Like with people doing QC games.
Well, I mean, the cozy stuff's been kind of popular, but I mean, like specifically, if you look at Cozy Stickerville, like how it's designed, like. It's very much like this kind of structured, like event-driven activity, and I think there's gonna be more people tapping into that because like the barrier of entry is so low, it's so easy to get anybody to play. Like, even Oliver doesn't play games with me. He won't even touch a board game. But I broke out Cozy Stickerville when I first got it because Corey sent me a copy, and like he played 3 years right out of the gate. So like I think that there are more companies going to tap into this, and I know there's other exceptions. There's like the escape games and stuff, but those all have like reading to do and everything. Like I think there's a space for this kind of like really micro narrative stuff that's like cool activity like stickers. Like there'll be other things too, but stickers are going to be a primary thing, I think.
Yeah, it's tough to say because if that's always the big challenge. People trying to figure out what's going to be the next hot thing. I do hope though that the campaign games are going to die out a bit because there's just too many of them, and
I think they fluctuate a lot because people get a bunch of them and they kind of cool off on them and they get all heavy about the next one. And
I just really like we've talked about this before. I just miss that the days when like you just did a board game and then like if it did well, then you just expand it and like just more cool games, less lifestyle games. More games you want to play once.
But at the same time, make more Lanes of Evershade content because I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I mean supporting a game that's successful, sure, but there should be fewer of them.
Yeah.
His last question is favorite game that mixes genres. Examples like Arcs, which is trick taking 4X, Earthborn Rangers, open world versus an LCG style card play, PAX Premier or Particles Wargame plus Euro. Honestly, I don't know if this is a mixes genres, but if you take like trick taking and co-op, that Lord of the Rings game, that's pretty cool. Yeah. Like that was a nice take on trick taking.
Well, I mean that's got a bunch of things. It's got like the narrative aspect, the campaign aspect.
That's mine. I took it. Yeah,
it's a good one because I was thinking something along those lines. We played that a lot with our game group. I don't know. I think maybe Iridia falls in that category in a bit because in my mind, Iridia, there are a lot of games that try to do that hybrid role-playing game thing, but Iridia was the first one that I saw that had this kind of like mechanic with role-playing. And it's funny, you ever see those reviews? There's a couple who reviews games. I forget his name. It's like I think it's a British guy. I wish I could remember his name. Anyway, he usually has really good critiques of games and has good points he brings up. But he was reviewing Iridia, saying like how that singular mechanic, besides this huge box of things, like just that fact that you had this card that said, "Here's this person you're role playing. Here's a quirk they might have, and if they ask a question they don't have a response to, here's what they would do." Like just that simple thing alone was enough to carry a product. And like, I think he's right. Like that game is so unique in that regard. But I don't know if it's the same idea he's talking about because the games he cited there, like obviously Earthborn Rangers, we're familiar with that one, but I'm trying to think of other games that would be falling in that category. But I would have to go with Iridia because I think Iridia has a lot in there, so it probably counts.
Yeah, Iridia would probably be on the top of my list of a lot of games, so that's fair. Tom Like a Bomb asks a few questions. I think the first one's probably not something I'm not prepared to answer, but top 10 games of all time. That's quite a list to prepare.
Not in
Iridia's up there.
Yeah, not in any order. Got Iridia, Marvel Champions, Arkham Horror the card game, Eldritch Horror, Cthulhu Death May Die. I think I'd have to go with, there's like a few different ones for the last top 5, but I'd probably have to go with Defenders of the Realm because just the
Warhammer Quest.
For me or for you?
This is a joint list.
I got 4 more. I know I can do this. I'll put Robinson Crusoe on here, even though I actually got rid of my copy of like the big deluxe edition because I just don't play it anymore. But it did have a huge impact on me, so I'll have to put it on the list just because of that. Regicide Legacy is incredible.
Would that be better than Pandemic Legacy, you think?
Regicide? Yeah. No, there's room for both.
I'm just saying, Pandemic Legacy, I feel like kind of deserves a spot because it's
Pandemic
kind of
Legacy. This is my list, not yours.
It's a joint list. I'm not making a list. Too much work.
I got one more. I think I'd have to go with. I know I'm forgetting a big one probably. I'm going to say Lord of the Rings, the card game, even though again I don't play it very often, but like I dominated so much of my life for like multiple years. So there you go.
I feel like Hero Quest should be on there somewhere because of the impact. Like it started us.
I'll replace Regicide Legacy with it because I think Pandemic Legacy probably is a better Legacy game, but Regicide Legacy is.
I always think about games like I don't even think about games about like how much I played them or like it's always just like for me it's more like what kind of impact did they have? Like what did they for me? Like and that's why like Warhammer Quest, Hero Quest would be up there because that kind of changed things. And then
even when it comes to playability, like I probably played Final Girl more than most of the games I listed, but I don't think I really like the gameplay of Final Girl. It's more just the product.
From
and
what
the
I've heard,
theme,
you
and
don't.
It's why I have issues with some of the actual gameplay, but it's like, yeah.
His next question is very easy for me. What is the ideal perfect gaming experience for you? And I'll just say Iridia. Like
Iridia was hard to top, and I think all my only critiques of Iridia is the fact that like we don't have the compulsion to play it much anymore after beating it. It's like it's not really one and done necessarily, but in a way it's like you don't have it's such an ordeal and such like if you get through the whole thing, it's such a journey that you don't feel like you want to spoil that experience by like kind of trying to recreate it, and I just want more of it.
Aside from that, I feel like a more general answer is good storage. Like having something that I was playing Arkham Horror, the card game, because I got that new core box, and this is before I got all that stuff, and it was kind of a mess. It was really fun, but it was kind of a mess. But like getting that game night chest where you could store all your tokens out and like have little removable things, it makes it so much smoother. It's like that takes the anxiety out of gaming for me, where it's like you have everything and nice storage and easy to put away and stuff. Quick setup is a big one. Quick setup is, I hate having to set aside time to set up and tear down. I just want to set up a game and play. What does your design development process look like?
A lot of yelling,
arguments, frustrations.
A lot of it boils down to like a lot of bickering back and forth about things, and then like maybe
depressing playtests,
like all these hours before and after that revolve around once you find a window of time that's like maybe an hour or two to like do some hard like laying out of the prototype and get something like firm in there and like say, hey, Adam, I got something. Let's try this out. And that's like, okay, that'll work. And then everything's like downhill from there. So there's a lot of this like kind of just, I always compare it to like writing a novel, because when I did my first novel, it was like multiple years of just like taking notes, thinking about maybe writing a novel and maybe like, trying certain things out. But once you do it and get it out of the way, then it's like things move a lot faster. Like it depends which project also like we're talking about, because the Malice of Light Adventures came together pretty quickly, and I kind of chalk that up to the fact that like we took so much time away from designing for a while and we came back pretty strong. But yeah, it's I think it's different with each thing's a different beast.
And I think the rest of it was just chatter about Zombicide.
Zombicide. I never want to be somebody who hates on things, and I have Zombicide. I have second edition. I have a couple expansions.
I've always tried to give it more chances,
but I cannot stand this system that requires 6 characters. And I know the characters don't take much to manage, but also like the whole glossary of abilities where they can't have the ability printed on there. What it does, it's so annoying.
Also, that game made me hate miniatures. Like I was so excited when that first came out, but then I played it and it's like, oh, let me grab 12 zombies, set them there, and then I'm gonna throw a Molotov. Let me get those 12 zombies off there.
and nothing. I don't think there's been a game thing that infuriates me more than how they do the monstrosity, the abomination.
Yeah, I hate it.
You can only get them by having the one thing. Like, oh, we got to make that. What is it? The
Molotov.
Was it a Molotov? Yeah.
They added more items later, but
I just hated that whole like. There's like a single way to do something. I just hated that. It's like,
I mean, even if you just like knock him down, like your weapons can knock him down. You do something like just. I hate games where you just can't do stuff.
Yeah,
I mean, limitations are good, but in that one, it's like a light, fun game. It's just a weird thing.
I feel bitter too, because like I should be happy that one of the most popular game franchises out there is zombie themed, but it's like the zombie things that I hate because it's all like jokey and it's like not. It's not. Yeah. It's not like.
I wish someone would take. Maybe we should do this, but take Last Night on Earth and make that a fully co-op experience.
Oh, the Flying Frog game?
Yeah, the Flying Frog game, because like that's the zombies I want. Slow moving zombies.
That game
classic.
That game had a lot of
also
points in his favor.
Let's get some art instead of photos, please.
Yeah. Cool. That's
that actually took a whole episode, so we got nothing else.
From now on, now when I ask for questions, we're going to say we want 10 questions because that'll fill up an entire
Yeah,
episode.
thanks for providing those questions and giving us stuff to talk about. So,
And I'm going to go play Police Quest now and see if I can get out of the parking lot.
all right, see you guys.
See you guys next
we'll
time.
let you watch out for the Pledge Manager and spread the word. Get more people on there.
Yeah.